afternoon. Welcome to the Montgomery County Commission meeting for Tuesday, September 29th at 1:30. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lieberman?
Here.
Commissioner Rice?
Here.
Commissioner Dodge?
Here. Okay, you want to stand for the pledge?
It's over
Where?
It's over there.
Moved it on me.
I don't know.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. That was you moved it. Okay, first up we have Lisa Grigsby. Come on up and tell us about Film Dayton. Good seeing you.
Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it, especially on this short notice. Film Dayton is nothing new here in Dayton. You know, we've been making films for years here in Dayton, but what changed it was in 2009, we passed a state incentive for films. So currently, every year, there is $40 million available in rebate money for people that are making films in Ohio. So that has been a huge, huge game changer. And that's when Film Dayton changed from being just kind of an arts organization to really being the commission for the greater Dayton region. So what my job is basically to do anything I can to get a film made here in town. So whether that means casting calls, looking for period cars for movies, casting dogs for different things, finding out, where helicopters can land. Interesting fact, 7 years ago, Mariah Carey made a Hallmark movie in Lebanon. And she doesn't limo to the set, she helicopters. So I had to find private helicopter pads that she could land in. And just FYI, there are 12 between here and Lebanon, just so you know. So my job is different every single day. We have had a ton of reality TV and different shows come through here, and you don't hear about most of them. My job is not to promote what's coming here. My job is to make it happen. And so a lot of the times, I'm not allowed to talk about it until it airs. Here's just a few of them. I can tell you just last week we had Love After Lockup was filming here in town. And I can tell you, I can't tell you much about what happened, but I had to find locations for them to go out and do those kind of things. But the real thing about Film Dayton is we're all about economic development. The very first film that kind of came to the region was in 2014, Carol. And you could look at the numbers there, and what it's all about is the spend, how much they're paying to hire people, to get locations, for transportation, for food. So that's what Film Dayton is truly all about. Miles Ahead was the first one that actually came right here to Dayton and filmed in the safety building in the jail up above. I'm not so sure how many people knew that, and at Rephrase Studios in Kettering. Once again, local jobs, local spend. Boy Band, which was a small movie made a couple of years ago. Most of you know Meredith Moss from the Dayton Daily News. This is her sons that put this one together. Wasn't a big budget movie, maybe $50,000. But if you look at those numbers and you look at the opportunities, 4 Fairborn High School students got to intern on that film. What an amazing opportunity, and what that will do for its career. Plug right here, the movie is right now on Amazon Prime. If you happen to watch it, it has a 30-day run on Amazon Prime. If it gets good reviews and good click-throughs, it will get to a longer run where it will start to make some money. So even if you don't like the movie, click on it, let it run, stick up a review. It really does make a huge difference for these local filmmakers. The big story of 2020, American Factory. As you all know, Oscar award-winning movie, absolutely huge for Steve and Julia. It was pretty amazing, and you see, the accolades that they got for it. How many movie makers have a Chinese business throw them a party to celebrate their win? They are true, amazing talents that we have here, and what they do so well is they give back. They bring so many people on their movies, and they are creating so many second and third tier movie filmmakers, and so we're incredibly excited to have them in the region, and they do make a huge difference for us. But that's not the only kind of film. I got a call in July, to put together a permit for a film, and here's what's funny is when I get these calls, they don't tell me what the project is or who it is. And so I got this one, they were looking for a location, they needed a medic, they needed to do things, they were going to film in Yellow Springs. So I went, oh, okay, Dave Chappelle, this is what this is going to be. And I'm thinking it was going to be like Netflix taping a Dave Chappelle show. Well, it turned out to be Letterman doing his next show. So I knew about that, and I went and helped on that, and I couldn't tell anybody about it, and it killed me. But finally, they've just released that it'll be coming out, and so that's a huge boon. So why that's not in Montgomery County, it's in our region, and it got some local people some jobs and some abilities to work, which was very cool. And then I get calls from Kettering Health Department. They're going to make some commercials, and they're hiring local to make their commercials. This one woman in here, Norma, I've put her in over a dozen different productions as an extra, and she's like, it's my second career now. She's retired, and so it's kind of cool, and it creates some positive buzz. The only thing we now need to do is to work with Kettering Medical Center to have them do the whole project here. They hired a Chicago production firm who then turned around and called me and asked me to put it together for them. So that's on my list of things to do, is to make people realize all that talent is local. You're just paying a premium to Chicago. So we've got to get that money spent here. I think that's important. Other filmmakers, how many of you know Henry Koto? He has made 30 movies here locally. They are very low budget movies. Most of them are horror. But what he has found is he has cracked the nut to get Walmart to distribute his movies. So you go in there and you can pick up his movies for $10. That is huge. And then the other piece about that is then they go international, because all these other countries think, well, if Walmart carries it, must be a good movie. So here's a guy making movies. The average budget for his movie, he likes to explain, is the cost of a used car. So he's not spending a fortune, but he's getting out there, he's getting production, and now he's starting to get requested to be a director and a producer on other people's films. So it's really a cool thing. Everyone knows about Old Man and the Gun, which was filmed here. 2 days, $400,000 in spend right here in Montgomery County, which was pretty amazing. And that spend is anything from locations, food, parking, police. So it was a pretty cool thing. The most exciting thing is that space is now an entertainment center, and that came from us going in there going, this should be an entertainment center. So they've now turned it around, and they've taken an empty space that was making them no money, and it's one of the hottest entertainment venues in town. So movies can do more beyond just the movie, and we want to share that with you. Ron Howard, this was a bittersweet story. We could have had the whole 8 weeks of filming here, except for the fact that the state tax incentive was in peril at the time that they were doing that. If you remember, the Republicans took it off. We had to fight to get it back. And so Netflix said, well, we don't want to take that chance. They went to Atlanta and spent a fortune. We did get 4 days of the filming here. We're hoping we'll get a local premiere. But what we got Ron Howard to say is, this is a great place to make a movie, and I'll be back. So that was a win. I got a call recently from the State Department wanting to talk to me about film. The State Department has decided that using film will be a great way to work internationally to understand other countries, what we do, and what the value of storytelling is. So, when I first got this, the call, I'm like, what did I do that the State Department's calling me? But they're really excited about it, and they're going to work with us to do some future stuff and to put on some festivals, and we think that's very cool. Our next big premiere is coming up October the 22nd. I think I've told you all about it. This is Julie Reichert's last film. It has been in process for about 20 years. It's 9 to 5, the story of a movement. So it's all about the women's labor movement. And it was the precursor to the Dolly Parton movie, 9 to 5. So we invite you all to come out and join us for that. It's going to be a great time to see that. It was supposed to premiere at South by Southwest, but COVID. So now they're doing small film festivals and trying to get the word out. They are close to having a distributor, so this may be the last local kind of thing that we can do before it goes to a distributor. We invite you all to join us for that. This morning, very exciting thing. I was out at Caroline Park this morning announcing a new film that's going to come out. Alan Forrest is a Centerville filmmaker. He is an amazingly talented guy. He's worked with Maxim and USA Today. He won many awards for Chuck Leavell, The Tree Man, which is a documentary he did on the keyboardist for the Rolling Stones. One big thing. Well, he's just announced that his next project is going to be the Triangle Park. So he is going to do a feature film on the football team that started here 100 years ago. So he's just announced that. So that's pretty cool. He will launch a fundraising campaign later this week. Hopes to be in pre-production in 2021 and have it actually show in 2022. And talk about a feel-good movie that will give Dayton a wonderful light all over the country, maybe even the world. We think that's pretty exciting. That's kind of my story. I just wanted to update you. I know I had limited time, so just want to thank you all for the support that you've given for Film Dayton and to let you know that it truly is making a difference in our community.
Thank you, Lisa, so
No.
much. Thank you, Lisa.
And Lisa, I remember several years ago, we went to, when they were filming,
Yep, the set visit.
yeah, and what I was amazed at, how many times that they film just that Casey Affleck just walking into the bank. I mean, it just took hours just for that.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how, God, can't he just walk in, pick up the money, and that was it? But
Nope, they have to have it from every angle, and the light's got to be right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing people always go, why does it cost so much to make movies?
Yeah.
And you saw, if it's just that for maybe a 3-second part of the movie.
Exactly, and then the building next door housed all the extras and their clothes from the 70s, and that was fascinating, that group, and just a few people just walking up and down the street. So
I think it's amazing when people realize it really does take a village to make a movie, how much is involved in that, what happens, and that's why I'm so excited about this Triangle Park movie, because that'll be our first opportunity to have a full, complete movie shot here of that caliber. That'll be probably a $15 million movie, just to give you an idea. Old Man and the Gun was about a $200 million movie. But that'll be our biggest local one that's been done. And it'll give lots of people opportunities to be extras. That first game was played in front of 5,000 fans. So we won't put 5,000 in, but we'll have a good opportunity for people to be extras in that.
yeah.
And it'll also tell some great stories about deeds and all those people that brought up to what happened in the 1920s when that happened.
Fascinating.
That's great. Wonderful.
Thanks. Yep. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Next up, Debbie Shaw. I think you're coming up to talk to us about the Children's Services vision for the future.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Sorry. We don't have a monitor, so it's hard
Gonna
to
say,
see it
get
from
it
over
straightened out
here.
before I get started.
There we go. You can use that or the arrow.
Thank you. Like I said, good afternoon. I'm Debbie Shaw, and I am the Interim Assistant Director for Children's Services. And I'm here today to talk about Children's Services Strategic Vision for 2020. Let me get used to my devices here. I want to start with a review of 6 key review findings that have been incorporated into our plan for practice improvement. Please speak into the microphone more. Oh, I'm sorry. Trying to think which one I can see. I guess I can see that one better. The first key review finding that we're focusing on is really clarifying policies and procedures that impact exigent circumstances. What we're talking about there with Children's Services and child abuse and neglect assessments and investigations is what things, what emergency situations will drive us being able to assert ourselves into situations without, well, either with a court order or to get a court order in order to see and interview children. There's some very prescriptive things in law that talks about when we can do that. Another key finding is ensuring that all the household members are interviewed. It's very important as we go into situations to establish who lives in the household and get everyone's point of view in terms of interviewing them about what the allegations are that we've gotten from the community and assessing the family relationships and really heightening the focus on that, not just seeing people, but interviewing and assessing them. Also, we really want to make sure that staff are aware of working with non-cooperative parents. Not everybody is happy to see Children's Services at their door, and we may experience some non-cooperation. So it's very important for staff to understand when we need to elevate those circumstances to conferencing that with our child protection unit to talk about what some of our legal options might be with those cases and sometimes pursuing a court order to have the family work with us. This one is very important. Being very comprehensive and looking at what the historical records say in regard to a family and their history.
Not just focusing on the incident that brought us to their home at that point, but looking back at what is the history of perhaps other open cases or cases that didn't rise to the level of being opened, but that there is information there that kind of informs us that we really need to take a look at what's going on with this family based on a number of referrals. We're working very hard with the prosecutor's office in our child protection unit to collaborate with them and make sure that the legal staff that are representing us are knowledgeable about child abuse and neglect, that we are partnering with them as they're looking at the legal aspects of a case, that we are bringing the child welfare information forward and sharing that and communicating clearly and providing them with all the case information that they need. We've been working with the Child Protection Unit to establish some policies around when we need to elevate cases, and also some communication tools to make sure that they have all of the information that they need when they're advising us on whether we are able to pursue a court order or whether we should make a filing in order to protect a child or children. We're working hard with staff on the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act. You'll also hear that referred to as CAPTA. And that is trying to balance what is parental rights to privacy and not being subject to illegal search and seizure, but also with our job that we have to do, which is to protect children. So that's a balancing act, and again, something that we really need to pull our Child Protection Unit into making some of those decisions about when we can make filings in court and how we work with families who are not cooperating with us. Some of the policy revisions and reviews that we're looking at are our red flag policy. We've had a policy by this name, but we want to do some revisions to that and make sure that it clearly spells out for staff what things elevate the case to different points of review. And for example, young mothers who have multiple children and may have a higher level of frustration, or families where there's untreated substance abuse or mental health problems. Reviewing those with supervisors and managers and making sure that we're capturing all of the assessment information and making the plans that we need to move forward. Again, you'll see exigent circumstances where we're looking at more clearly spelling out what constitute exigent circumstances, under what laws we can interview children at school, for example, without parental permission. That again is a real balancing act in terms of how serious the allegations are, and does it rise to a certain level of the law, which again, we will be working with our Child Protection Unit on. Our CAPMAS policy, where we're working on, that's basically all the tools that the state gives counties to evaluate and follow in order to do a thorough assessment of a family and identify their service needs. And I think I've pretty much talked about this in terms of incorporating more language about exigent circumstances, exploring all case history, like I talked about, be it an alternative response case or a traditional response case. In partnering with the prosecutors, we've started meeting with the prosecutor monthly, the supervisor of the Child Protection Unit. We're having monthly meetings where we're problem solving and talking about common issues and how we resolve those to keep kids safe. Again, I think I've hit on this already too. Exigent circumstances, balancing constitutional rights and child protection mandates, making sure that we are maximizing all of our legal options available to us. doing a lot of training, and I'll get to this in a moment, but we're doing some comprehensive training on the requirement to interview identify and interview all household members, not only for the safety assessment, but the family assessment, which is something that we complete in 45 to 60 days to look at what are the issues, is there abuse and neglect going on, and what do we need to do service-wise to help that family? Do we need to remove children or make a safety plan in order for the kids to be safe? Let's see. Really seeking out documentation on history, child welfare history. That sometimes is in another state, or it may be in another county, which in our SACWA system we're able to access in other counties, but we may not in other states. So we need to thoroughly explore whether there's historical information somewhere else that we need to access. We've elevated number 4 here. We're talking about managers reviewing requests to close cases with high risk scores. When we do a family assessment, there is a matrix that we go through that helps us calculate what the level of risk to this family and the children are. If it's proposed that we're going to close that case based, even though it has a high risk score, and that would be where there's mitigating factors, that there are protection devices in place, the manager needs to review that. Up until now, the supervisors have been approving those, and so we're making sure that we've elevated that to another level of review to make sure that we should be closing cases. Again, talking about how to handle non-qualified parties, working with the child protection unit on that, and also doing training. Requiring external verification of case plan progress when we have an open case and we're talking with families, or we have an intake. Perhaps it's not an open case yet. Not just relying on the, for example, parents or caregivers to tell us what they've done, but actually, communicating with the provider and getting verification that indeed they've completed services and they're able to demonstrate that they can protect the children. I mentioned this a little bit. This is a really important piece of what we're doing, enhanced skills training. What we're doing is incorporating everything that's in our plan for practice advancement, the local and state reviews that we've had, and we've designed a multi-level training program that will train our supervisors in working with caseworkers and overseeing the work, also train our caseworkers like in separate sessions, and then bring them together to work on critical thinking skills and what are best practices and the rules that we need to follow, and that we can become consistent across all of our areas and how we practice. We're in the process of, we've actually updated our memo of understanding on child abuse and neglect to include schools, law enforcement, other mandated reporters. And in the next, I believe, 30 days, we do have meetings set up with other agencies and mandated reporters to review the memo of understanding and sign that and get their feedback. And again, improving the collaboration with the prosecutor's office. Now I want to invite Jane up. Jane Hay, I think most of you know Jane, president of PGO. We want to talk about this slide because it's really kind of been a partnership. And
Right, exactly.
Yes.
So I just had a few words. Good afternoon, everyone. So partnering, moving forward with the county and the agency, and with this new reorganization, having, the caseworkers focus on only one duty, intake or ongoing, that provides a direct benefit to our clients. This means that workers will have more time to focus on their area expertise when working with families. Thanks to the county administrator, Michael Colbert, for keeping his promise made during negotiations. The vacant casework positions are being posted and filled. This will bring down caseload numbers in the near future, which decreases the risk to our children and families that we serve. So that's a big win for everybody. Along with the reorganization, the governor's recommendations, and new safety and accountability measures put into place, this will go a long way to keeping kids safe, and that's what we all want. So we're looking forward to the new partnership and collaboration with the agency and the county. So, thank you.
So yeah, we're
Thank you,
really
Jane.
excited about this reorganization that we're doing, and I'll just kind of conclude by talking a little bit about this. Like Jane said, really took a look at specializing, having caseworkers specialize in particular areas. Typically, we have like intake and assessment workers, and we have ongoing workers, and we've had them all kind of under what, like a supervisor in a unit, and we've decided that we really need to separate them out into intake units where that's their focus, and we do intensive training with them, and they can focus on that beginning part of a case and making sure that we do that comprehensive assessment and looking at the historical information, and really work hard on that while we have ongoing caseworkers who can focus on the cases that we open and the whole service delivery piece. And that way we can, keep cases moving through our intake departments. If we open them up, we'll transfer them to ongoing, and then they'll be able to focus on that area of specialty. So that's something the staff's really wanted, and we've worked with the union about. Also addresses budgetary concerns, really work at orienting new employees, and we're also working on developing another department within Children's Services that's going to focus on, and we're very excited about this, diversity, equity, inclusion, and they will also be focusing on quality and outcomes. Okay.
Well, Debbie, I just want to tell you and your leadership team, thank you so much. I also want to say thank you, Jane, to you and PGO and the entire leadership of the union. This could not happen without you bringing it forth, and for our county commissioners who really asked us to think differently and to move the agency forward for our children. So thank you, commissioners, for giving us the will to do this. And Debbie, great leadership, and Jane, the input that you and the team gave us on both the reorganization and on some of the specialization. As we look at intake, as we look at case management, as we look at having quality assurance, that doesn't happen without your input. So again, thank you for your support. Commissioners?
I was just going to say, thank you both for all the hard work that you put to make this, and I know it's going to be very successful. We really appreciate it. And I know that we've had several discussions over this reorganization. So again, it's another significant step in the creation of a new position, a manager of community and client outcomes. So that is a very positive step right there. And this person will report directly to our new Assistant Director for Children's Services, and this manager will oversee 5 supervisors and staff who will look at client outcomes with an emphasis on the impact of implicit bias that can impact families in the child welfare system. So again, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to working with you as time goes on. Anybody else?
I just want to add that, we know that you all have been working on this for months, and we really appreciate it, and it makes sense. And, people may say, well, what took so long? Well, we know the day-to-day work that you guys already have is overwhelming. And so the fact that you were able to really dig in and figure out what are the best practices and what are we doing right and what can we improve on, I really applaud you. And you did this while we were having to go through the review by the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services and with the alternative response case review. So we know how hard you all have been working. And, I know it hasn't been easy, especially with the special review about Dakota's death. So I know you all were very positive and you welcomed the input, and we really appreciate that. And I just appreciate you working together, and we look forward to continuing to work with you, Jane, and your team and your union. And again, thank you. I'm so glad that we had great negotiations, and it's, I feel really good about where you all are right now. So thank you.
And I would just echo that, I believe all of us truly understand and appreciate that caseworkers have very difficult jobs. And they need to be empowered to use their instinct, their training, and all the resources available in the protection of our children. And I truly think that the enhanced training piece and regular meetings with the Child Protection Unit should really make a difference with the Children's Services staff. I think that'll be a real improvement. And knowing when to elevate those cases is so incredibly critical, so that our staff needs that legal input. And so it's truly a partnership in making these decisions that are very difficult decisions. And now they're meeting regularly with Child Protection Unit so that they can get that legal input. One less barrier, a stronger collaboration, which is good for everyone involved, and especially the children. I know that many in the general public do not fully understand that caseworkers need to work very closely with law enforcement and the court to accomplish what is needed for children. Parents have legal rights as well. That is for sure. And if a caseworker wants to interview a child without parental consent, the caseworker will need legal grounds to do so. So I think you said it over and over, but what you've been describing to us, it's a very difficult and delicate balancing act. And I know all of us here on the commission, as well as the leadership team and everybody in the county, truly appreciate what our child welfare caseworkers do every day. We can't say it enough, and we are grateful that the negotiation is behind us and we're moving together in a very positive direction. So thank you for all you do, and I look forward to a brighter future for our children and families and our community.
I'd also like to add, Commissioners, that some of the changes that have come forth that Debbie and Jane have been working on in the teams, our employees, are actually going to be statewide changes. The changes that they are recommending to the SACWIS system, which is the case management system to track child welfare activities. Those screen changes are statewide, and our JFS director, Michelle Niedermeyer, is here. She is championing this at the state level. So from the work that will be done here, we're hopeful that we'll be able to move the system, not just in Montgomery County, but across the state.
Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you again. Thank you. Okay, County Engineer.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Administrator, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Debbie and Jane, for all the important and difficult work you and all your staff do. Thank you. We have 4 resolutions today. The first is 20-1249 to authorize an agreement with Kramer and Associates, LLC, for construction engineering consultant services for the Havermill Road Widening and Resurfacing Project, Phase 2, in Jackson Township at a cost not to exceed $48,960 through December 31st of 2022. 1250 is authorizing a payment by warrant in the amount of $141,768.58 to the City of Moraine from permissive tax funds for the 2020 Dryden Road resurfacing from the Corporation Line to Kreitzer Road project. And we have 2 amendments for agreements. 1251 is with Eagle Bridge Company for the Snyder Road and Dayton Farmersville Road bridge reconstruction projects in Jefferson and Jackson Townships, providing $3,053.64 to the original amount for a revised total of $731,252.09. And 1252 is with Brumbaugh Construction, Inc. for the Chute Mill Road Bridge Rehabilitation Project in the City of Dayton, providing $63,642.86 to the original amount for a revised total of $1,941,960. $196,582.25.
I move for approval.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Paul, just a quick question. How's the Third Street Bridge coming? I know that it's coming along.
It's coming great. They're on schedule. They're really moving along well on it, yeah.
Good.
And we're pretty much up out of the river now, so there's not,
Yeah.
there shouldn't be too many unexpected things happen now.
Good.
Great job, Paul.
Beams
Yeah.
are going up, as you probably
Yeah, we
know.
keep
Yeah.
watching it from our
Yeah.
window, yeah.
Yeah.
Good, that's good.
That's great. Thank you. Juvenile Court.
Thank you, Commissioners. Under Juvenile Court, we have 2 authorization agreements. Resolution 1253, South Community, Inc., to provide 2 staff members and to administer, coordinate individual case management and relapse prevention services as it relates to the Juvenile Treatment Court in an amount not to exceed $22,458 through September 30th, 2021. We also have Resolution 1254, South Community, Inc., to provide 4 staff members and to administer, coordinate family functional therapy, child welfare services as it relates to the Family Treatment Court programming in an amount not to exceed $309,427 through September 29th, 2021.
I move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
County Administrator.
Under the Clerk's Office, we have approval of the minutes of the meetings on September 22nd, 2020, Resolution 1255, approval of bills, and Resolution 1256, approval of travel and expenses. Both of those lists are available in the Clerk's Office.
I move for approval.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, you're ahead of the game here. Administrative
Ready.
Services, Tyler. He's ready to go.
Thank you, Commissioners. We have just a handful of resolutions for your consideration today. The first is 1257. This is the approval of personnel actions. This list is available in the clerk's office. 1258 authorizes an agreement with Bradley Payne Advisors, LLC, to provide a municipal financial advisor for financial advisory services for the Office of Management and Budget in an amount not to exceed $100,000 per year through November 1st, 2022, with options to extend. 1259 authorizes a change order to the agreement with Robertson Cabinets Incorporated, general contractor for the bench hardening project, by adding $3,200 to the original amount for a revised total of $158,300 due to a change in the scope of work. And last is 1260. This extends the service agreement with Rumpke of Ohio Incorporated for special waste hauling services for the Environmental Services Department through September 30th of 2021.
I move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Environmental Services. Matt?
Afternoon, Commissioners. I have one resolution this afternoon. Resolution 1261, accept the 20% letter of credit for the VOWC Boulevards, Sections 8 and 9 development in the amount of $120,465.
I move for approval.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
OMB, John.
Thank you, Commissioners. I have 4 resolutions for your consideration this afternoon. Number 1262, to authorize appropriation amendments. 1263, to authorize additional appropriations. 1264, to authorize cash transfers. And 1265, authorize appropriation decreases.
I move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have a late item under Business Services. Chris?
Thank you, Commissioners. One late item, Resolution 20-1268, authorizing CARES nonprofit grant agreements with various local organizations through December 30th, 2020.
I move for approval.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we have Tom coming up with Human Services Planning and Development.
Thank you. I'm actually going to begin with Job and Family Services first. Under the Department of Job and Family Services, 1267 will authorize the purchase through the Omnia cooperative contract from APG Office Furnishings to provide cubicle relocation services in the amount of $118,581.22. Then I'm going to move back up to Human Services Planning and Development. We've been working for quite a while now with the CARES Act funds that you all know you've approved for a variety of programs. One of the most important things that we do each day is provide service access to our most vulnerable citizens in the community. Through our Homeless Solutions Policy Board, we provide a variety of access to our homeless population for shelter, for food, for the services they need to try to become more self-sufficient, take care of themselves, and make sure they have access to the services that they need. We've been working with St. Vincent de Paul for the last couple of months in looking at how they've been impacted by the pandemic, how they need to be better prepared and move to different approaches with regard to setting themselves up for the future with more social space, more distancing, with looking at how their services are currently provided and better preparing them to be able to work with the residents, the clients that come through their doors every day. So you in fact are making one of the largest awards to date to any single agency to be better prepared for what the future looks like and respond to what effects and impacts the pandemic has made on our community, and to be able to provide access to services that are much needed in the community through St. Vincent de Paul. So with that, we have Resolution 1266, which will authorize an agreement with St. Vincent de Paul for improvements to emergency shelter services to mitigate COVID-19 effects for homeless residents in an amount not to exceed $8 million through December 30th of 2020.
I move to approve.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And so with us today is Rob Andrews, who's the Director of Operations for St. Vincent de Paul. And Rob would like to make just a few comments on behalf of St. Vincent.
Thanks, Tom. Normally, Michael Vanderberg, our Executive Director, would be here today, but he's down in Louisiana working with one of our national partners, St. Vincent de Paul Disaster Services, kind of repaying the help that they gave us last year during the tornadoes, or the tornadoes. He's down there with the hurricanes. But on behalf of Michael and the rest of the staff at St. Vincent de Paul, we'd just like to say thank you very, very much for your support in this particular project, and also for your support in all the work that we've been doing for the last few years, actually last many years. You and your staff have been tremendously helpful and supportive, and especially Tom Kelly and Jessica Jenkins on this particular project. They've been their guidance has been valuable, their support has been terrific, and their patience has been wonderful. So just wanted to thank you all again.
Thank you. I'm so glad we're able to do that.
Rob, I'd just like to say, Commissioners, if I could, thank you and Michael for taking this on. We have a unique opportunity to make some enhancements in our homeless system. And Tom, you and Jessica, thank you for the work, but you had to be willing to take this on. And the work that we can do at JFS, at Apple Street, at Gettysburg, we probably won't get a chance like this in the foreseeable future. So thank you very much. This needed to be done, and you took advantage of the opportunity.
Thanks. You're welcome.
And I would just like to add, I also serve on the Homeless Solutions Policy Board, so I've seen up close the great work that's being done. And this truly is a critical program because many people who experience homelessness fall into high-risk categories. Many people over 65, or those who suffer from pre-existing conditions like lung disease and heart disease. And it's been said that we estimate that in Montgomery County, nearly 40% of our shelter guests are potentially at higher risk for severe illness from the disease. So today's agreement certainly provides St. Vincent de Paul of Dayton with up to $8 million in CARES Act funding to make those very critical improvements to our emergency shelters so that we can reduce the spread of COVID-19 among some of our most vulnerable Montgomery County residents. So I know that you will get this done, and it will be for the good of especially these most vulnerable people. So thank you.
Thank you. And you talked about the $8 million in investments, and so basically what that's going to entail is additional facility enhancements that will yield approximately 70 additional socially distanced beds. and the temporary use of non-congregate shelter at a local motel for households in high-risk categories for the virus. Enhanced cleaning, sanitation, and personal protective equipment, or PPE, for the shelters. And these are important and meaningful investments, and we couldn't be more pleased to approve the funding today. So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And of course, I have to add something. This is such a critical program. And, it's something I think our team started talking about immediately. How are we going to keep COVID out of the homeless shelters? And you guys have done it. Congratulations. And I know it hasn't been easy, but I know we were able to put money in right away for hotels and that. But this, because we don't know when this is going to end. And it is going to really help. So congratulations to you. Congratulations to our team, Jessica, Tom. Because our working together is going to not only keep your frontline people safe, but the residents of your shelter safe as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are there any additional comments that you wanted to make?
Is it my turn,
I'm looking at you, yeah.
Well, Commissioner, only one thing I want to say is I think today, you see, we just recently had the article in the Dayton Daily News about the impact of poverty across Montgomery County and across the community. And I think you see from today the policies and the work and the appropriations that you have been supportive on. We are working to try to help that in homelessness, in child welfare, in rental assistance. I mean, the work that we're doing right now with Community Action Partnership and with County Corp. So I think that we are working both with CARES Act, our federal and state partners, to try to do the best we can to stem the blow of COVID, but to also address some of the poverty indicators that you see in the community. So thank you, commissioners. I know this has been a priority of yours, and we have been trying to move these things forward.
Thank you.
Commissioners?
I have to add something. So I got a report, an update, totally different topic. But the Dolly Parton Imagination Library and the Ohio governors, Governor DeWine and First Lady really have championed this effort over since he came into office. And we were the first metro county to sign up. We weren't the first county to sign up, but we were the first metro county. And we announced it, as you remember, back in December of 2019 at Children's, the Pavilion. And we signed up. I know you've heard me say this before, but I still think this is terribly exciting. We signed up over 1,000 children, 0 to 5, on the very first 24 hours. And I'm pleased to report that we are up to 9,300 and some children who are receiving monthly books for free, 0 to 5, and we're not even at a year yet. So I think that's just terribly exciting. That's like a really positive thing that's happening in our community. And I'm just so grateful to all the partners we've had on this effort. And if there are any, I know there's all kinds of outreach being done at Children's and through all the services that touch little ones and their families. But if anybody here knows anyone in Montgomery County who has a little one not enrolled, please, I think it's you go to Ohio Governor's Library Imagination or something, but you just ask for Dolly Parton Imagination in Ohio and you're going to find Montgomery County. And I just think that's terribly exciting. So adding something that got me hyped up today.
Goal is to have every county in Ohio. And
Yes.
Mrs. DeWine said that if we can get every county signed up, that Dolly will come visit us. So
Oh, we want
there's
that.
incentive for Dolly to come here. But I think last year we saw the number, and there are 35,000 children in Montgomery County under 5. And so
We're already at 25%.
there you go.
That's pretty good for 9-10 months.
That's it.
Okay, all right.
Nothing
We're
else.
just going to tell everybody, please, 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 wear your mask, do social distancing, wash your hands. This is so easy, easy, easy. And more schools are opening up. And so we really have to be careful, careful.
And last day of to sign up for the census tomorrow?
The 30th.
Today. Yeah, tomorrow.
30th.
30th, tomorrow. So
Yeah. Okay, our next Montgomery County Commission meeting will be Tuesday, October 6th. October 6th, 1:30. Can't believe it.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.